Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Alexa and I hope everyone's doing well or attempting to do well during this time. As you guys can tell by the title of this video, I am going to be talking about protecting your mental health or protecting your mental space as it pertains to such a overwhelming, confusing, and anxiety-ridden time that we're currently experiencing. Typically this channel is trying to give you guys everything that I know about travel and sharing my travel experiences, a little bit of lifestyle and showing you around my hometown, but obviously that is very much at a halt, which inspired me to do this video because up until about a week ago, I wouldn't even say a week ago, up until about 5 days ago, maybe, I was feeling completely defeated in this aspect of my life. Obviously, there are major changes that a lot of us can't make right now, and for me, I also felt that in my creative space, which was incredibly important to me to preserve. And I thought, well, if I'm trying to position myself as a travel channel or anything related to travel, how am I going to do that? But I realized there are other ways to connect and communicate with you guys, and I think that it's going to be helpful for me to share some of the things I've been doing thus far to protect my mental space in order to continue being a productive, helpful, hopeful, and informed individual. I think, like most people that are doing videos like this on YouTube, it is necessary to do a disclaimer. Anything that I suggest, because they are purely suggestions and purely personal decisions I made for myself, in this video are not at all to diminish what is going on in the world, to promote this idealistic view that you should stick yourself in a bubble and ignore things, because I don't want to be ignorant or seen as ignorant. I do not want to encourage people to focus on themselves and not on how they can help others, because I actually felt that these things that I'm going to suggest have helped me help others and be a supportive person to the people in my life. So obviously, I live here in America. At the time that you guys are seeing this video, I do not have any close friends or family members that have been physically affected by this virus. I do not have anyone that is stuck in a different country due to border closing. I am in a very fortunate position compared to some, even in the city that I live in terms of cases versus deaths and, clean bill of health and all that. I'm still in a very fortunate position, and I want to recognize that privilege and understand that I may come off as this person that is in a better position than others, and it's easier said than done for me to sit here and suggest things. But again, not at all my aim, and I really hope it doesn't come off that way, because I really just want to encourage people to try to find the littlest bit of good in these otherwise dark times. So we'll get right into it. So the first thing that I've been doing is actually limiting my media intake. That sounds crazy, it seems unrealistic, and it kind of seems stupid, because you can't avoid the news, and you shouldn't avoid the news. You should stay informed. You should continue to spread helpful information. And I completely agree with that. However, in typical American history, we had this kind of information at our fingertips at the beginning of the year, maybe a little bit before even. And like always, we are being reactive versus proactive, or could have been proactive. And a lot came down in a couple of weeks. I think everyone can agree on that. A lot came down in a couple of weeks because it's easier to be so far removed from something that you don't take it seriously, you don't see it as affecting you directly, and that's a lot of what we've been dealing with. Well, as someone who is extremely sensitive, extremely sympathetic, and is filled with anxiety, anyone who knows me knows that I can admit I'm a bit emotionally unstable. And what I mean by that is that when I receive any kind of negative or bad news, I internalize it so deeply that it can get to the point where I rid myself into a bit of nausea, honestly, because I get so overwhelmed and I start to feel so helpless that I feel useless to people around me, people affected by tragedies all over the world, and so on and so forth. But what I always tell people is just give me a minute. let me run through my full range of emotions and I'll come back. I'll come back to reality. I'll get back to that logical side of things. Unfortunately, we do not have that privilege right now. The news is so fast. It is 24/7. We aren't given that free time or that extra time to digest any new information. And if you've watched any kind of news source, they are also emphasizing that it can be overwhelming. And I just thought, in order for me to be at a stable capacity for others and for myself, I needed to limit what I could. Because right now, the formula that we are all kind of operating in is waking up and immediately reading or finding the latest updates about a negative situation, going to work if you are still going to work, which I have been going into an office, having 8 to 10 hours of that discussion at work of a negative situation, coming home and further engaging in or reading up on or listening to more information about a negative situation. And that was not going to cut it for me for a minimum of 2 months, for that to be my everyday routine. I knew that that was not going to be sustainable. So I thought, what control do I have in this situation? I'll just hop off social media. That first week when everything was like boom about the panic buying and everything, I decided just hop off social media. It's not, an official news source or anything, but I could control that bit. I can't go to work and tell people don't talk about it. I can't stop people from texting me about it. And I can't not be there for the people in my life that really just need someone to talk to. So I just decided to just get off social media. And that actually weirdly, subconsciously maybe even, made me realize that I have a lot of control over my perspective of what is going on right now. It actually helped me to get ready to get back on social media, which I have been doing as of late. I mean, I'm still very careful about what I actually zoom in on or follow links to or spend extra amount of time in reading, depending on my mood when I'm on a social media platform. But I think I just need to get over that initial feeling that is just tied to social media in general, this feeling of being disconnected, call it FOMO if you want. When you decide to take your own little social media break when there's not a pandemic happening, you get that weird almost anxiety like, oh my gosh, I'm missing out on something. And I think that that's just so inherent in us now because of so many years of being attached to it. So once I got over that and realized I don't have anything that actually needs me to be on social media right now, and I know no one's doing anything except being in their homes, I got over that hurdle, and that allowed me to feel more in control. Sounds silly, but anyone in my age bracket, I would feel, or anyone who's ever been in this sort of, I'm going to take a break from social media mindset, can kind of understand that. But I felt that really helped me in realizing and recognizing my control. That brings me to my second point, which was emphasizing the self and self-isolation. Like I said, I've been going into an office, so the whole work from home thing has not really been affecting my life personally. However, I did realize that obviously we can't go out and hang out with people. Our social interactions are extremely limited at the moment. Even if I didn't have a whole lot before, the fact that it's just removed is not an option makes you realize the kind of time you should be spending with yourself. And to me, I thought this is a great time to really spend time with myself in a way that maybe I haven't been thus far or in a long time, and just trying to be as productive as I can. Productivity looks different to everyone, just as success looks different to everyone, as an example. And for me, being productive means taking care of myself mentally, maybe a bit physically with exercise and skincare routines and things like that. But for other people, it may be finally investing in a creative project that you've been wanting to do, maybe feeding your inner child by picking up an old hobby, maybe just lounging on the couch and watching TV or playing video games. Just whatever makes you feel like it's clearing out part of your mental space and is allowing you to be more positive and allowing you to be there in a more supportive way for the people in your life who may be struggling. That's productive to me. So I've really been trying to pay attention to myself and rebuilding a routine with myself that was otherwise dwindling due to other life demands. Similarly, in the way that we are maintaining social distancing and, having those limited social interactions on a physical basis with people, it's important to maintain your relationships anyway. I mean, we are already in a heavily disconnected, connected world where we actually don't do the extra legwork with connecting with people in our lives, even some of our closest friends, because social media is in real time highlight reel. You think you know what's going on in someone's life because you saw it on Instagram, you saw it on Facebook, so on and so forth. But we aren't really reaching out to people in the way that maybe we would have been required to before. And so if someone is now telling you cannot physically be with other people, it's so easy to get yourself truly into the negative side of self-isolation, completely disconnect yourself from the world and the people around you, and not even realize how much time is passing that you can be nurturing your relationships. Not to mention, paying attention to your relationships and maintaining them, making that effort, can do a lot for your sanity. This is not a time where you should truly be stuck alone with your thoughts. It can go so dark so quickly. So definitely be putting in that extra time and those hours with your friends. Schedule FaceTimes, like a FaceTime date with your close friends, your close guy friends, girlfriends. They have all these different group hangout sites that you can download, or apps or what have you, on your computer, and just have a night and get creative. It's so fun because this is a time to get creative. The other day, my boyfriend's friend had a virtual birthday party, and it was a trivia theme. So we answered trivia about his friend, and it was really fun because you'd break out into these little groups and debate who knows the most about the friend that everyone showed up for. And I thought it was so sweet. His parents attended, and I thought it was the cutest thing. And I'm like, I need to definitely set up something like this with my friends, and just have a night or some time to just break away from the negativity and get some good laughs in, and really nurture those relationships that, again, similar to how you may have not been taking care of yourself, you may not have been attending to your friendships due to other life demands that are now on halt or removed entirely. And I think that the fourth and most important thing that I've been doing thus far is trying to establish an attitude of gratitude. This came about over the weekend, this past weekend, because we are officially in spring now, and in an effort to do an additional step to spring cleaning, I wanted to spring clean my mind. And a lot of that was harboring negativity, transitioning out of not just the stuff that's going on with the virus, but even before that, I felt like I was harboring a lot of negativity. I don't feel that I have seasonal affective disorder when it comes to winter, like a lot of people do, but it is a weird season, and it was doing that going into the virus. It just seemed like everyone was putting a lot of energy and hope into the spring and summer months, and now it's just like that's at a halt, and we don't know what our spring and summer is going to look like, And so I thought it was important to start establishing an attitude of gratitude, especially now that I do recognize the things that I said at the beginning of this video. I'm in a very fortunate position. So something I've been doing every single day that I've even read in self-help books through the years is just saying at least 3 things in the morning and 3 things before bed at night that I am grateful for. It doesn't matter if it's the same 3 things every day, or if it's something that seems frivolous. Like the other day, I said I was grateful for the people on TikTok who create this endless, hilarious content for us to bring us just a little bit of joy during this time, It's just about recognizing all the great things in your life. And in doing that, I've also got my boyfriend on board, and we're reminding each other to say it to each other, even say it out loud as an affirmation. Also say it to each other. If you don't have anyone to do that with, or you don't feel comfortable doing that with, maybe putting it into a journal. Just something that for that split second, similar to the theme throughout this video, is just giving yourself a mental break and setting a boundary that's just like, this time is dedicated to positivity. I don't want to tell anyone to avoid things that they cannot avoid or should not avoid. Don't live in a bubble. Ignorance is not bliss at this time. Take the directives that you are being given about staying clean, keeping up with your hygiene, doing your part to give other people a fighting chance. And I saw a tweet that shouldn't have been funny, but it was saying something like, can everyone just follow the directions and stay inside so we can get this coronavirus over and done with. I feel like a kindergartner that can't go to recess because one or two kids won't act right. And I'm like, that is kind of what we're going through right now. Do not think that this doesn't affect you. Do not be selfish and think, well, I'm not sick and my friends aren't sick, so we should be able to hang out with each other. The faster we can all comply, the faster we can get to at least lowering that curve, because like a fever, no pun intended, considering it is one of the more serious symptoms of this disease, or not disease, of this virus, it has to get worse before it gets better. So please take the directives that people are giving you. Please just try to do right by other people. If you don't feel like there's a benefit to you, trust me, you are benefiting someone else. And I hope that these 4 little things that you can do on a daily basis that may not seem like much are easy things to add into your routine, and maybe, like me, it will help you be a more hopeful person, a more positive person, and a more supportive person, if not just for the people in your life, like your friends who are having a bad day, and your family members who are scared about themselves, and maybe for your job, anything like that. Ultimately, I know that there are going to be good and bad days. There are days where I'm totally okay. I'm out of denial. I'm accepting this is our new normal. And I'm trying to think, what can I do to make the best of the situation I'm in? And other days, I feel completely bogged down, defeated, like there's no light at the end of this tunnel, like this is endless, like we're being punished. I mean, all of the above. So it's going to be a roller coaster for a while. There's going to be a spectrum. And even when we get through this, there will still be an aggressive transition period from a business and economic standpoint. So we may have a long way to go, but we can do a lot better together. I'm not going to start singing Imagine and not donating my millions of dollars like some people out here. But I hope this was helpful for somebody, like anyone else is saying on the internet or otherwise. Just everyone try to keep your head up. Try to continue opening up to people around you when you're scared and when you're stressed. And lean on those relationships. Nurture the relationship with yourself. Nurture the relationship with others. And do your part. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And hopefully I'll be coming back to you with something next week. So, bye.